The alarm bells screamed across the research station like angry birds. Commander Tejo ran through the long metal hallway. His heavy boots hit the floor hard with each step. Red lights flashed on and off above his head. Something big was coming. Something bad. "Commander, hurry, please." Yujin called from the communications room. Her voice shook with worry. She sat at her desk full of blinking screens and glowing buttons. "The Galactic Council is calling us." "They sound very serious." Tejo rushed to her side and looked at the main screen. A man in a dark blue uniform stared back at them. His face was hard as stone. His eyes were cold like winter ice. "This is Admiral Park of the Galactic Council Fleet," the man said. "Listen very carefully. We are sending you our most dangerous prisoner. Its name is Subject 77. This thing has killed 43 people in 3 different star systems." The screen changed to show a huge metal cage. The cage had thick steel bars and heavy locks. Strange sounds came from inside. Scratching sounds. Growling sounds. The whole cage shook like something very strong was trying to break free. "The creature stands 8 feet tall," Admiral Park continued. "It has claws longer than kitchen knives. Its mouth makes acid that burns through metal. But the most dangerous thing about it is its brain. This thing thinks like we do, it learns. It remembers every person who ever heard it." Yujin looked at Commander Tejo with wide eyes. "Sir, why are they bringing it here?" "We study plants and rocks, not killer animals." The Admiral heard her through the speakers. "We have tried everything to control this beast. We gave it good food. It attacked us. We tried to scare it with pain. It got smarter and more angry. We used sleep drugs. It learned to fight them off." The screen now showed pictures of broken prison cells. Metal walls were torn open like paper. Dark red stains covered the floors and walls. Tejo had seen many bad things in his years working in space, but this made his stomach feel sick. "Subject 77 learns from every trick we try," the Admiral said. "Then it uses what it learned to kill more people. It broke out of Steel Rock Prison and killed 6 guards. It escaped from Moonbase 7 and killed 12 scientists. Every place we put it, people die." Dr. So Young walked into the room just as the Admiral was talking about the dead scientists. She was a small woman with smart eyes and quick hands. She had worked with strange alien animals for many years. Very few things scared her anymore. But when she saw the pictures on the screen, her face went white as paper. "Are they going to kill it?" she asked quietly. "Yes," Tejo answered. "They say nothing else works." Dr. So Young moved closer to the screen. She wanted to see more pictures of the creature. The Admiral was still talking about safety rules and special weapons, but she stopped listening to his words. Instead, she looked very carefully at each picture of Subject 77. The first picture showed the creature sitting in a small cage. It was much bigger than any Earth animal she had ever seen. Its skin was dark gray with bright blue spots running down its back. Its arms were very long and thick with muscle. Each hand ended in claws that looked sharp enough to cut through diamond. But something about its eyes made her heart beat faster. These were not the eyes of a stupid beast that only wanted to kill. These were smart eyes, sad eyes, eyes that looked like they had seen too much pain and fear. "Look at how it sits," she said to Tejo. "See? It stays in the back corner of the cage. Its arms are wrapped around its body. This is not how a killer animal sits when it wants to attack. This is how a scared animal sits when it wants to hide." The Admiral kept giving them orders. "The transport ship will reach your station tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. You will have 1 day to get ready. Make sure your security team has working weapons. Make sure your prison cells are strong. This creature has broken out of every cage we ever built." Near the door, someone made a soft coughing sound. All 3 people turned to look. Dongwu stood there holding his toolbox. He was the man who fixed broken things around the station. He kept the air flowing clean and the lights working bright. Most people on the station did not talk to Dongwu very much. He did his work quietly and never complained about anything. He had lived on the station for 2 years, but he never talked about his life before he came to space. The only thing people knew was that he came from Earth, from a big city called Seoul. "Sorry to bother you," Dongwu said in his quiet voice. "I was fixing the air system next door. I heard the alarm bells." "You can go back to your work," Tejo said. "This is important security business." But Dongwu did not leave the room. He looked at the screen where the pictures of Subject 77 were still showing. His dark eyes studied every picture very carefully, like he was trying to learn something important. "How long has this creature been locked in cages?" he asked. Dr. So Young looked at her electronic tablet. She read through the information files. The reports say 12 years, maybe even longer than that. 12 years in cages, Dongwu said slowly. All alone. It stays alone because it kills everyone, Taeho said. No one can get close to it and live. Maybe that is true, Dongwu said. Or maybe it hurts people because it is very scared. The Admiral's voice got louder and more angry. Do not let anyone go near the creature when it arrives at your station. Do not try to study it. Do not try to help it or talk to it. Just keep it locked up tight until we are ready to destroy it forever. That is a direct order from the Galactic Council. Anyone who disobeys this order will be punished. The transmission ended. The room became very quiet except for the soft humming sounds of computers and air systems. Dr. So-Young looked at her tablet again. She read through page after page of reports about Subject 77. Every single report told the same story over and over. People tried to work with the creature. The creature attacked them with claws and teeth. People died in terrible ways, but something felt wrong about these reports. In all her years working with alien animals from different planets, she had learned one very important thing. Every animal does things for reasons. Even bad things like biting and scratching happen for reasons. I want to watch when the transport ship arrives tomorrow, she said. That sounds very dangerous, Taeho said with worry in his voice. I will stay far away where it cannot reach me, but I need to see how this creature acts when it thinks no people are watching it. Dongwu was still looking at the now empty screen. The pictures of Subject 77 were gone, but he seemed to see something there that the others could not see. What are you thinking about? Dr. So-Young asked him. I had a dog once, Dongwu said in his quiet way. Back on Earth in Seoul. Someone had hurt this dog very badly before I found it behind my apartment building. For many months it tried to bite anyone who came close to it. Even me. Even when I brought it food and water. What happened to your dog? Yujin asked. It took a very long time, Dongwu said. Many months of patience. But slowly, day by day, it learned that I was not going to hurt it like the other people did. After it learned to trust me, it became the best and most loyal friend I ever had in my whole life. Taeho shook his head. Pet dogs from Earth are not the same thing as alien killing machines from other worlds. Maybe you are right, Dongwu said. But hurt feelings are the same everywhere. Fear is the same in every living creature. Pain looks the same whether you are human or alien or anything else. He picked up his heavy toolbox and walked toward the door. Before he left the room, he turned back to look at them one more time. When the transport ship comes tomorrow morning, I would like to watch too. I just want to see this creature for myself. After Dongwu left, the other three people stood in the quiet room without talking. Outside the big windows, millions of bright stars moved slowly past their station. Somewhere out there in the dark space, a transport ship was flying closer and closer to them. Inside that ship was something that the whole galaxy called a terrible monster. But Dr. So-Young kept thinking about the words Dongwu had said. What if Subject 77 was not really a monster at all? What if it was just a very scared and hurt animal that had been alone for too many years? The question stayed in her mind all through the long night. The transport ship arrived at exactly 8 o'clock in the morning. Commander Taeho watched it through the big window in the docking bay. The ship was black and ugly, with thick metal walls and small windows. It looked more like a flying prison than a normal transport ship. All security teams get ready. Taeho spoke into his radio. Remember what Admiral Park said. This thing is very dangerous. Security Chief Hyun-soo stood near the docking door with 6 guards. Each guard held a powerful energy weapon. Their faces looked worried but determined. They had all read the reports about Subject 77. They knew what this creature could do to people. Where do you want the cage? Hyun-soo asked Taeho. Put it in holding cell number 5. That cell has the strongest walls and the best locks. Dr. So-Young stood far back from the others. She held her electronic tablet and was ready to record everything. She wanted to see how Subject 77 acted during the transfer from ship to station. Near the wall, almost hidden behind some equipment boxes, Dongwu watched quietly. He had finished his morning work early so he could be here. His toolbox sat on the floor next to him, but his eyes never left the transport ship. The ship's doors opened with a loud metal grinding sound. 3 men in thick protective suits came out first. Behind them came a large hover platform carrying the biggest cage anyone on the station had ever seen. The cage was made of black metal bars as thick as a person's arm. Strange blue lights glowed around the locks. The cage was so tall that it almost touched the ceiling of the docking bay. Inside the cage, something moved in the shadows. "Careful with that thing," one of the transport guards shouted. "It tried to break out twice during the trip here. We had to use sleep gas to keep it calm." As the hover platform moved slowly across the docking bay floor, everyone got their first real look at Subject 77. The creature was even bigger than the pictures had shown. It sat in the back corner of its cage with its long arms wrapped around its knees. Its dark gray skin had bright blue spots that seemed to glow in the dim light. Its head was large and had a shape that looked almost human, but not quite. Dr. So Young started taking notes on her tablet very quickly. The creature's breathing was fast and shallow. Its eyes kept moving back and forth, looking at all the new people around it. These were signs of stress and fear, not anger. "It looks scared," she whispered to herself. But then something went wrong. One of the transport guards was not paying attention to where he was walking. He tripped over a power cable on the floor and fell hard against the hover platform. The platform shook and tilted to one side. Subject 77 suddenly stood up to its full height inside the cage. It was huge. Its head almost touched the top of the cage. Its long arms reached out and grabbed the metal bars. "Watch out!" Yunsu shouted to his men. "It is getting angry." The creature pulled hard on the cage bars. The metal began to bend like soft clay. The blue lights around the lock started flashing faster and faster. "The locks are failing," one of the transport guards yelled. "Everyone get back. Get back now." The cage door broke open with a loud crash. Subject 77 stepped out onto the docking bay floor. Up close, it was even more frightening. Its claws were as long as knives. Its mouth had rows of sharp teeth. When it breathed, small clouds of steam came out. "Fire your weapons," Hyunsu ordered his guards. But Subject 77 was too fast. It jumped to the side just as the energy beams shot through the air where it had been standing. The beams hit the wall and left burning holes in the metal. The creature ran across the room using both its hands and feet. It moved like a giant cat, quick and smooth. When the guards tried to follow it with their weapons, it was already somewhere else. "It is too smart," one guard said with fear in his voice. "It knows we are trying to shoot it." Subject 77 jumped onto some tall equipment boxes near the wall. From up high, it looked down at all the people below. Its eyes were bright and alert. It was studying them, learning about them. 2 more guards came running into the docking bay to help. Subject 77 saw them coming and jumped down from the boxes. It landed right in front of the new guards. One guard screamed and tried to run away. Subject 77 reached out with one long arm and grabbed the man's uniform. But instead of hurting him, the creature just held him still for a moment. Then it let the man go and moved away. "Did you see that?" Dr. So Young said loudly. "It could have killed him, but it did not. It just wanted him to stop running." "It is playing with us," Hyunsu said angrily, "like a cat playing with mice." But Dr. So Young was not sure that was true. She watched the creature very carefully. Every time it had a chance to hurt someone badly, it chose not to. When guards fell down trying to get away from it, Subject 77 stepped around them instead of stepping on them. The creature was now backed into a corner. All the guards had their weapons pointed at it. There was nowhere left for it to run. Subject 77 made a sound that was loud and deep. It echoed off the metal walls of the docking bay. Everyone thought it was a battle cry, a sound of anger before it attacked. But Dongwoo heard something different. He stepped out from behind the equipment boxes where he had been watching. All the guards looked at him like he was crazy. "Get back," Yunsu yelled at him. "That thing will kill you." Dongwoo did not listen. He walked slowly toward Subject 77. His hands were empty. He carried no weapons. He moved the way he had moved toward his scared dog many years ago in Seoul. "Easy," he said in a soft voice. "Easy now. No one wants to hurt you." Subject 77 stopped making the loud sound. It tilted its big head to one side and looked at Dongwoo. Its bright eyes studied this strange human who was not afraid. "What are you doing?" Taeho called out. "Dongwoo, get away from there right now." But Dongwoo kept walking forward. He was now only 10 feet away from the creature. Close enough that it could reach him with its long arms. Close enough that its claws could cut him. "I know you are scared," Dongwoo said quietly. "New places are scary. New people are scary. But no one here wants to hurt you if you do not hurt them first." Subject 77 made a different sound now. It was softer, like a question. The creature took one small step toward Dongwoo. All the guards raised their weapons higher, ready to fire. "No!" Dr. So Young shouted. "Do not shoot. Look at what is happening." Subject 77 was not moving like a killer anymore. It was moving like a curious animal. It stretched out one long arm toward Dongwu, but kept its claws pulled back inside its fingers. Dongwu slowly raised his own hand. Palm open, fingers spread wide. The same way he had shown his scared dog that he had no weapons, no intention to hurt. "See?" Dongwu said. "Just hands. Just a person trying to say hello." The creature's arm was now close enough to touch Dongwu's hand. Everyone in the docking bay held their breath and waited to see what would happen. Subject 77 reached out very carefully and touched Dongwu's palm with one finger. Its skin felt warm and dry, like leather that had been left in the sun. The creature made a soft humming sound deep in its throat. "Hello to you too," Dongwu said with a small smile. For just a moment, the docking bay was completely quiet, except for the sound of air systems and computers. A human and an alien killer were touching hands like old friends meeting after a long time apart. Then Hyunsu broke the spell. "This is crazy," he said loudly. "We need to get that thing back in a cage before it changes its mind and kills someone." Subject 77 heard the angry voice and pulled its hand back quickly. The moment of trust was broken. The creature looked around at all the weapons pointed at it and made that loud sound again. But this time Dongwu understood what the sound really meant. It was not anger or a threat to attack. It was loneliness. It was the sound of someone who had been alone for too many years and was afraid of being alone again. "We need a new plan," Dongwu said to Commander Taeho. "This creature is not what we were told it was." "What do you mean?" Taeho asked. Dongwu looked back at Subject 77, who was watching him with those sad, intelligent eyes. "I mean, it is not a monster," Dongwu said. "It is just lost and scared and has forgotten how to trust anyone. But I think it wants to remember." 3 days had passed since Subject 77 broke out of its cage. The creature now lived in holding cell number 5, but everyone on the station knew the truth. The thick walls and strong locks would not stop it if it really wanted to escape. It stayed in the cell because it chose to stay, and it stayed because of Dongwu. Every morning, Dongwu came to the cell with his breakfast. He would sit on a small chair outside the metal bars and eat slowly, while talking to the creature in his quiet voice. At first, the other workers thought this was very strange, but after 3 days, it had become normal. "Good morning," Dongwu said as he sat down with his food. "Did you sleep well last night?" Subject 77 sat in its usual spot in the back corner of the cell, but now instead of wrapping its arms around itself, it sat facing Dongwu. Its bright eyes watched every movement the human made. "I brought you something," Dongwu said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a piece of cooked meat from the kitchen. "The cook said this is safe for you to eat." He pushed the meat through a small opening in the bars. Subject 77 moved forward slowly and picked up the food with careful fingers. It sniffed the meat, then ate it in small bites. "You like it?" Dongwu asked. The creature made a soft humming sound that seemed to mean yes. Dr. So-young watched all of this from her office through the security cameras. She had been recording everything that happened between Dongwu and Subject 77. What she saw amazed her more each day. The creature was learning human words. Yesterday, when Dongwu said water, Subject 77 had made a sound that was almost the same. Today, when Dongwu said good morning, the creature tried to copy those sounds too. "This is incredible," Dr. So-young said to her computer as she made notes. "Subject 77 is not just intelligent. It wants to communicate with us." She picked up her tablet and walked to the holding cell area. Dongwu was still sitting by the bars telling Subject 77 about his work plans for the day. "The air system in Section C needs new filters today," he was saying. "It will take about 2 hours to replace them all." Subject 77 listened to every word like it was the most interesting thing in the universe. "Dongwu," Dr. So-young called softly. "May I join you?" Dongwu looked back at her and nodded. "Of course. But move slowly. Subject 77 is still nervous around new people." Dr. So-young walked very carefully to the cell. She sat down on the floor next to Dongwu's chair. Subject 77 watched her with alert eyes but did not move away. "Hello," Dr. So-young said to the creature. "My name is So-young." Subject 77 tilted its head and made a soft sound. Not quite words, but close. "It is trying to say your name," Dongwu said with a small smile. "It does that with everyone it meets now." "Everyone?" Dr. So-young asked. "Who else has it met?" "Yujin came yesterday to fix the camera in this hallway." And Ji-wook from engineering stopped by when he heard the stories about Subject 77 being friendly now. Dr. So-young was surprised. How did it react to them? Watch this, Dongwoo said. He called out loudly, Ji-wook, are you working in Section D today? From somewhere down the hallway, Ji-wook's voice called back, Yes, I am fixing the lights there. Subject 77 suddenly stood up and moved to the front of its cell. It made a sound that was clearly meant to be Ji-wook. Then it picked up a small metal bolt from the floor of its cell and held it up toward the bars. What is it doing? Dr. So-young asked. It is showing us the bolt, Dongwoo explained. Yesterday, Ji-wook dropped that bolt while he was working near the cell. Subject 77 picked it up and has been keeping it safe. I think it wants to give it back to him. Dr. So-young felt her heart beat faster with excitement. This was not the behavior of a mindless killer. This was the behavior of someone who understood that other people had lost something and wanted to help them find it. Subject 77, she said carefully, do you like helping people? The creature looked at her and made that soft humming sound again. Then it did something that made Dr. So-young gasp. It nodded its head up and down just like a human saying yes. It understands questions, she whispered. It understands and it can answer. Over the next few hours, Dr. So-young asked Subject 77 many simple questions. Do you like the food Dongwoo brings you? Yes, nod. Are you happy in this cell? Head shake side to side for no. Do you want to hurt people? Very strong head shake no and a sad sound. This changes everything, Dr. So-young said to Commander Taeho later that day. They were in his office looking at her video recordings of the creature. What do you mean? Taeho asked. I mean, Subject 77 is not a killer animal. It is a person. A person who has been treated very badly for many years. She showed him video clips on her tablet. In one clip, Subject 77 was gently putting the lost bolt near the bars where Ji-wook could reach it. In another clip, the creature was copying the words Dongwoo used when he said goodbye each evening. Look at this one, Dr. So-young said, showing him the newest recording. This morning, Dongwoo was feeling sad because he got bad news from Earth. His sister is sick. Watch what Subject 77 does. In the video, Dongwoo sat by the cell bars with tears in his eyes. He was trying to hide his sadness, but Subject 77 could see it. The creature moved close to the bars and made very soft, gentle sounds. Then it reached through the bars as far as it could and very carefully touched Dongwoo's shoulder with one finger. It was trying to comfort him, Dr. So-young said, just like a friend would do. Taeho watched the video 3 times before he spoke. If this is true, if Subject 77 really is intelligent and peaceful, then we have made a terrible mistake. The whole galaxy has made a terrible mistake. Not just a mistake, Dr. So-young said sadly. We have been torturing someone for 12 years. Someone who could think and feel and understand what was happening to them. That evening, Dongwoo came to say goodnight to Subject 77 as he did every day. But tonight he brought someone with him. Eugene followed behind him, walking carefully and quietly. Subject 77, Dongwoo said. You remember Eugene, right? She fixed the camera yesterday. The creature stood up and moved to the front of its cell. It looked at Eugene and made a sound that was almost like her name. Hello again, Eugene said with a nervous smile. I brought you something. She held up a small music player. Dongwoo told me you like sounds and voices. I thought you might like to hear some music. She turned on the player and soft, peaceful music filled the hallway. Subject 77's eyes went wide with wonder. It had never heard music before. The creature sat down right by the bars and listened with complete attention. When a song ended, it would make a questioning sound, asking for more. It likes music, Eugene said with amazement. Look how happy it looks. Subject 77 was indeed looking happier than anyone had ever seen it. Its whole body was relaxed. The sad look in its eyes was replaced by curiosity and joy. After an hour of music, Dongwoo said it was time to go. We will bring more music tomorrow, he promised. As they walked away, Eugene was very quiet. What are you thinking? Dongwoo asked her. I am thinking about all the reports we read, Eugene said. All those stories about Subject 77 killing people. But what if those people were trying to hurt it first? What if it was just defending itself? Dongwoo nodded slowly. I think you are right. I think Subject 77 has only killed people when it was scared and had no other choice. Behind them, they could hear Subject 77 trying to hum along with the music that was still playing. The sound was not quite right, but it was clearly an attempt to sing. Tomorrow I want to try something new, Dongwoo said. I want to see if Subject 77 would like to come out of its cell for a little while. Is that safe? Eugene asked. I think it is safer than keeping it locked up, Dongwoo said. Friends should not be kept in cages. That night, Subject 77 lay down in its cell and listened to the music until the small player's battery died. For the first time in 12 years, it fell asleep not because of drugs or exhaustion, but because it felt peaceful and safe. In its dreams, it remembered things from long ago. It remembered being young and playing with others of its kind. It remembered what it felt like to be happy. When it woke up the next morning, Subject 77 made a decision. It was time to trust these kind humans completely. It was time to try being free again. The morning started like any other morning. Dongwoo came to the holding cell with his breakfast and sat in his usual chair by the bars. Subject 77 waited for him in its usual spot, sitting forward now like an old friend ready to share stories. "Good morning," Dongwoo said with a warm smile. "I have good news today. My sister is feeling better. The doctors say she will be fine." Subject 77 made happy sounds and nodded its big head. Over the past week, it had learned to understand many of Dongwoo's emotions. When he was happy, it was happy too. "Would you like to try something new today?" Dongwoo asked. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small electronic keycard. "Would you like to come out of your cell for a little while?" Subject 77's eyes went very wide. It looked at the keycard, then at Dongwoo's face, then back at the keycard. It made a questioning sound. "Just for a few minutes," Dongwoo said. "We could walk down the hallway together. You could see more of the station." The creature stood up slowly and moved close to the bars. It reached out one long arm and very gently touched the keycard with one finger. Then it looked into Dongwoo's eyes and made a soft sound that clearly meant yes. Dongwoo had already talked to Commander Taeho about this plan. Taeho was nervous, but he trusted Dongwoo's judgment. Dr. So Young would watch everything through the security cameras, ready to call for help if needed. "Remember," Dongwoo said as he put the keycard into the lock, "stay close to me. Move slowly. Some people on the station are still scared of you." The lock clicked open. The heavy door swung wide. For the first time in 12 years, Subject 77 was free to walk out of a cage. The creature stood in the doorway for a long moment, as if it could not believe this was real. Then it took one careful step forward into the hallway. "How does it feel?" Dongwoo asked. Subject 77 looked up at the ceiling, which was much higher than in its cell. It looked down the long hallway that stretched in both directions. It made a sound that was full of wonder and joy. They walked slowly down the hallway together. Subject 77 stayed right next to Dongwoo, matching his pace perfectly. When they passed windows that looked out into space, the creature stopped to stare at the stars with amazement. "Beautiful, right?" Dongwoo said. "I never get tired of looking at them." Subject 77 nodded and made a sound that might have been the word beautiful. It was getting better at copying human words every day. They walked past the cafeteria, where some workers were eating lunch. A few people saw them through the windows and dropped their food in surprise. But Subject 77 just waved one long arm in a friendly greeting, the way it had seen Dongwoo wave to people. "Look," Dr. So Young said from the security office where she was watching the cameras. "It is trying to be social. It wants to be part of the community." Commander Taeho stood next to her, also watching the screens. "I have to admit, this is not what I expected. The creature seems genuinely friendly." On the screens, they could see Dongwoo and Subject 77 reaching the engineering section. Jiwook was there, working on some broken equipment. When he saw them coming, he stopped his work and smiled. "Hello, Subject 77, Jiwook called out. "How are you today?" Subject 77 made happy sounds and reached into a small pocket that Dongwoo had made for it out of cloth. The creature pulled out the metal bolt it had been keeping safe and offered it to Jiwook. "You kept this for me all this time?" Jiwook asked with surprise. He took the bolt gently from Subject 77's large hand. "Thank you. This is very kind of you." Subject 77 beamed with pride. It had done something helpful, and Jiwook was happy about it. This felt wonderful. But then something went wrong. As they continued their walk, they came to a section of the hallway where some pipes had broken. Water was leaking from the ceiling and had made the floor very slippery. There were warning signs up, but the repair work was not finished yet. Dongwoo stepped carefully around the water, but his foot slipped on the wet floor. He fell hard and his leg got caught under a piece of heavy equipment that had been left there by the repair crew. "Help!" Dongwoo called out, but his voice was not very loud. The heavy equipment was pressing down on his leg and he could not move. Subject 77 saw what had happened and rushed to help. It grabbed the heavy equipment with both hands and lifted it easily off Dongwoo's leg. The equipment weighed hundreds of pounds, but Subject 77 lifted it like it was made of paper. "Are you hurt?" Subject 77 asked. Its voice was rough and strange, but the words were clear. It was the first complete sentence the creature had ever spoken. Dongwoo looked up at Subject 77 with amazement. "You can talk. You really can talk. Are you hurt?" Subject 77 asked again, more worried this time. "My leg hurts, but I think it will be okay," Dongwoo said. "Can you help me stand up?" Subject 77 very carefully lifted Dongwoo to his feet. Its strong hands were gentle and steady. When Dongwoo wobbled a little, the creature put one arm around his shoulders to support him. "Thank you," Dongwoo said. "You saved me." "Friends help friends," Subject 77 said in its strange voice. "You help me. I help you." From the security office, Dr. So-young and Commander Tae-ho watched this whole scene with their mouths open in shock. "It spoke," Dr. So-young whispered. "It spoke in complete sentences. And it saved Dongwoo's life," Tae-ho added. "If that equipment had stayed on his leg much longer, it could have caused serious damage." Word spread quickly through the station about what had happened. By the time Dongwoo and Subject 77 made it back to the holding cell area, a small crowd had gathered to see them. Yoo-jin was there with her music player. "I heard you can talk now," she said to Subject 77. "Is that true?" "Yes," Subject 77 said clearly. "I learn words from Dongwoo. I learn words from music. Words are good." Engineer Kwan-ho stepped forward. He had been one of the most scared people on the station when Subject 77 first arrived. "I want to say thank you," he told the creature. "Dongwoo is my friend. You saved him today." "Dongwoo is my friend too," Subject 77 replied. "Best friend?" Dr. So-young pushed through the crowd with her tablet full of notes and questions. "Subject 77, may I ask you something important?" "Yes," the creature said, sitting down so it would not tower over the small woman. "All those times in the past when you hurt people, why did you do it?" Subject 77's face became very sad. "They hurt me first. They put needles in me. They hit me with electric sticks. They never gave me food unless I did tricks. They never talked to me like I was real." "But you are real," Dr. So-young said gently. "You think and feel just like we do." "Yes," Subject 77 said. "But they did not know that. Or they did not care. What about Dongwoo?" she asked. "Why did you never try to hurt him?" Subject 77 looked at Dongwoo with eyes full of love and trust. "Dongwoo talked to me like friend from first day. He brought me food without asking for tricks. He sat with me when I was lonely. He never hurt me, so I never hurt him." The crowd of people listened to these words in silence. Many of them felt ashamed when they realized how wrong they had been about Subject 77. "I have an idea," Commander Tae-ho said to everyone. "Instead of keeping Subject 77 locked in a cell, what if it had its own room on the station? A real room with a bed and windows and everything a person needs." "I would like that very much," Subject 77 said with excitement. "But I want to stay close to Dongwoo." "Of course," Tae-ho said. "We can give you a room right next to his. And you can have a job too if you want," Ji-wook added. "You are very strong. You could help us with the heavy work around the station." "I can work?" Subject 77 asked, hardly believing it. "I can be useful?" "You already are useful," Dongwoo said with a smile. "You are my friend. That is the most useful thing anyone can be." Subject 77 made the happiest sound anyone had ever heard it make. For the first time in 12 long years, it was not just surviving, it was living. That night, Subject 77 slept in its new room. It had a real bed, soft blankets, and a window that looked out at the stars. On the small table next to the bed was Yoo-jin's music player and some books that Dr. So-young had brought to help it learn more words. As it fell asleep, Subject 77 could hear Dongwoo moving around in the next room. Its best friend was close by, safe and happy. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new friends, and new chances to help people. The creature that the galaxy had called a monster was finally home. 2 weeks had passed since Subject 77 got its own room on the station. The creature now had a name that everyone used. It called itself Echo because it liked the way sounds bounced off the metal walls. Echo had also chosen to be called he, after learning about human words for male and female. Echo worked in the engineering section every day with Ji-wook and Kwan-ho. His incredible strength made many jobs much easier. He could lift heavy equipment that usually took 4 people to move. He could reach high places that needed special ladders, and he was always very careful not to hurt anyone with his sharp claws. "Echo, can you hold this pipe steady while I fix the connection?" Jiwook asked one morning. "Yes, friend Jiwook," Echo replied in his deep, careful voice. His speaking had improved a lot in just 2 weeks. "I will hold it very still." Echo gripped the large pipe with both hands and kept it perfectly steady while Jiwook worked. When the job was finished, Echo gently set the pipe down in exactly the right place. "You are getting much better at controlling your strength," Jiwook said with a smile. "Dongwu teaches me," Echo said proudly. "He says gentle hands make better friends than strong hands." But their peaceful morning was interrupted by loud alarm sounds throughout the station. Commander Taeho's voice came over the speakers. "All station workers report to the main meeting room immediately. We have important visitors coming." In the meeting room, everyone gathered with worried faces. Commander Taeho stood at the front looking very serious. "A Galactic Council inspection ship is arriving in 1 hour," he announced. "They are coming to check on Subject 77. The Council has heard reports that we have not followed their orders to destroy the creature." Dr. So-young raised her hand. "Who is leading the inspection?" "Admiral Kai-jun," Taeho answered. Many people in the room made unhappy sounds when they heard this name. "Admiral Kai-jun hates aliens," Yujin whispered to Dongwu. "He thinks humans should control all other species in the galaxy." Dongwu felt worried. "Where is Echo now?" "I sent him to his room," Taeho said. "I told him to stay there until the inspection is over. This Admiral Kai-jun is not like the people on our station. He will not understand what Echo has become." 1 hour later, the inspection ship docked with their station. Admiral Kai-jun came aboard with 6 armed soldiers. The Admiral was a tall man with cold eyes and a mouth that never smiled. He looked at everyone like they were enemies. "Where is Subject 77? He demanded without even saying hello. "Admiral Kai-jun," Commander Taeho said politely. "Welcome to our station. May I offer you some food or drink?" "I did not come here for a party," the Admiral said angrily. "I came here because the Council received strange reports about this station. Reports that say Subject 77 is still alive. Reports that say you people are treating a dangerous killer like a pet." "Sir, if you would let us explain," Dr. So-young started to say. "Silence," Admiral Kai-jun snapped. "I will see this creature right now, and then I will finish the job you should have done weeks ago." Commander Taeho had no choice. He led the Admiral and his soldiers to Echo's room. Dongwu, Dr. So-young, and several other station workers followed behind them. When they reached Echo's room, they found him sitting by his window looking out at the stars. He was holding one of the books Dr. So-young had given him, trying to read the words. "Subject 77, Admiral Kai-jun called in a loud, harsh voice. Echo turned around and saw all the people crowded in his doorway. When he saw the soldiers with their weapons, his whole body became tense. But when he saw Dongwu's familiar face, he relaxed a little. "Hello," Echo said politely. "My name is Echo now. Are you new friends?" Admiral Kai-jun stared at Echo with disgust. "It talks. Interesting, but talking does not make a killer safe." "Echo is not a killer anymore," Dongwu said, stepping forward. "He has been living peacefully on this station for weeks. He works with us. He helps us. He has never hurt anyone here." "That is because you have kept it locked up," the Admiral said. "But what happens when it gets angry?" "What happens when it remembers its true nature? His true nature is to be kind and helpful," Dr. So-young said. "All our research shows that Echo only became violent when people were cruel to him first." Admiral Kai-jun laughed, but it was not a happy sound. "You people are fools. This creature is a weapon. It was designed to kill, and I will show you that it cannot change." The Admiral pulled out a small device that looked like a remote control. "This is a pain generator. It was used to train Subject 77 in the old days. Watch what happens when I use it." "No!" Dongwu shouted. "Do not hurt him." But Admiral Kai-jun pressed a button on the device. A terrible high-pitched sound filled the room. Echo screamed in pain and fell to his knees. The sound was designed to cause agony to his species. "Stop it," Echo begged, holding his hands over his ears. "Please stop." "I will be good. I will do whatever you want." But Admiral Kai-jun did not stop. "You see? It begs like the animal it is. This is what Subject 77 really is under all your gentle training." Echo's eyes began to glow with anger. His claws came out of his fingers. His muscles grew tight with rage. Everyone in the room took a step back except for Dongwu. "Look," Admiral Kaijun said with satisfaction. Now you see the real creature. In a few more seconds it will attack us all. Echo stood up slowly. His whole body shook with pain and fury. His claws were sharp and ready. His teeth were showing. He looked exactly like the monster from all the old reports. But then he saw Dongwu standing between him and Admiral Kaijun. Echo, Dongwu said in his calm voice. Look at me. Remember who you are now. Remember what we learned together. Echo stopped moving. The glow in his eyes began to fade. He is using that pain machine to make you angry, Dongwu continued. But you are stronger than your anger. You are better than what they tried to make you. Admiral Kaijun pressed the button harder, making the painful sound even louder. It will attack any second now. Everyone get ready to defend yourselves. Echo took one step toward the Admiral, then another. His claws were still out. His face was twisted with pain. But instead of attacking, Echo did something that shocked everyone in the room. He sat down on the floor in front of Dongwu. He pulled his claws back inside his fingers. He wrapped his arms around himself and made himself as small as possible. I will not hurt anyone, Echo said through his pain. Dongwu taught me that hurting others only makes more hurt. I choose to be better. Admiral Kaijun stared in disbelief. This is impossible. The pain generator should make it attack everything in sight. Turn off that machine, Commander Taeho ordered angrily. I will not, the Admiral started to say. But Dr. So-young grabbed the device from his hands and threw it on the floor. Ji-wook quickly stepped on it with his heavy boot, crushing it completely. The terrible sound stopped. Echo slowly lifted his head and looked around the room. Is everyone safe? He asked weakly. Did I hurt anyone? No, Echo, Dongwu said with pride in his voice. You did not hurt anyone. You chose to be good even when someone was causing you pain. Echo smiled despite his exhaustion. That is what friends do. They do not hurt each other even when they are hurting. Admiral Kaijun looked confused and angry. This changes nothing. The creature is still dangerous. I have orders to destroy it. Your orders were based on old information, Commander Taeho said firmly. Echo has proven that he can control himself even under extreme stress. He is not the same creature that killed those people years ago. Besides, Dr. So-young added, those people Echo killed in the past were torturing him, just like you tried to do today. He was defending himself, not attacking innocent people. Echo struggled to stand up. Dongwu helped support him. Admiral Kaijun, Echo said in his tired voice. I am sorry if I scared you. I know you think I am a monster, but I do not want to be a monster anymore. I want to be a friend. The Admiral stared at Echo for a long moment. Something in the creature's sad, honest eyes seemed to reach him. This is not what I expected, he admitted quietly. None of us expected it, Taeho said, but sometimes the most amazing things happen when we choose understanding instead of fear. Echo walked slowly to his small table and picked up a metal flower that Ji-wook had made for him in the workshop. With shaking hands, he offered it to Admiral Kaijun. For you, Echo said simply, a gift from one person to another. Admiral Kaijun looked at the flower, then at Echo's hopeful face, then at all the station workers who were watching. For the first time since he arrived, the Admiral's hard expression began to soften. Admiral Kaijun held the small metal flower in his hands for a long time. He looked at it carefully, turning it over to see the delicate work that Ji-wook had put into making it. Then he looked up at Echo, who waited patiently with hope in his large eyes. I do not understand, the Admiral said quietly. Every report said you were a killer who could not be changed. But you just offered me a gift after I caused you pain. Pain goes away, Echo replied in his gentle voice. But kindness lasts forever. Dongwu taught me that. Admiral Kaijun turned to look at Dongwu. How did you do this? How did you change a monster into whatever this is? I did not change him, Dongwu said. I just showed him that not all people are cruel. Echo changed himself when he felt safe enough to try. Dr. So-young stepped forward with her tablet full of notes and recordings. Admiral, I have been studying Echo for weeks. He is not the same creature that was brought here. He has learned to control his strength, to speak our language, to work alongside humans. Most importantly, he has learned to choose peace even when he is afraid or hurt. Show me, the Admiral said. Dr. So-young played a video on her tablet. It showed Echo working in the engineering section, carefully helping Ji-wook repair a broken machine. In the video, Echo's massive hands moved with perfect gentleness, never using more strength than needed. Here is another one, she said, switching to a different video. This one showed Echo in the cafeteria, sharing lunch with several station workers. He was laughing at something Yu-Jin had said, his deep voice warm and happy. And this, Dr. So-young continued, showing a third video. It was from the night before, showing Echo in his room reading a book by the window. When he came to a word he did not know, he wrote it down carefully to ask Dongwoo about it later. Admiral Kai-jun watched all the videos without speaking. His soldiers stood behind him, also watching with surprised faces. They had come expecting to see a dangerous beast, but instead they saw someone who seemed almost human. There's something else you should know, Commander Taeho said.
3 other stations have contacted us.
They have creatures that were labeled as untamable killers, just like Echo was. They want to try the same approach we used. What do you mean? The Admiral asked. We mean that Echo might not be the only one, Dr. So-young explained. There could be dozens of intelligent beings who have been treated as monsters simply because no one took the time to understand them. Echo moved closer to the group, moving slowly so he would not frighten anyone. Admiral Kai-jun, may I tell you something important? The Admiral nodded, still holding the metal flower. Before I came to this station, I was angry all the time, Echo said. I was angry because people hurt me and never tried to talk to me. I thought all humans were bad. But Dongwoo showed me that some humans have good hearts. Now I want to help other creatures like me learn this too. Help other creatures? Admiral Kai-jun asked. Yes, Echo said with excitement. If you bring them here, I can talk to them in ways that humans cannot. I can tell them that it is safe to trust. I can help them learn to be peaceful like I learned. Jiwook stepped forward. Echo has already started helping us understand how to build better living spaces for different types of alien beings. His ideas have made our work much easier and safer. And he has been teaching us words from his own language, Yu-jin added. We are learning to communicate with his species properly for the first time. Admiral Kai-jun looked around at all the station workers. Every face showed the same thing. Respect and friendship for Echo. These people were not afraid of the creature that had once been called Subject 77. They truly saw him as a member of their community. I need to contact the Galactic Council, the Admiral said finally. This changes everything we thought we knew about these creatures. 3 hours later, Admiral Kai-jun finished his long conversation with the council leaders. When he returned to the station workers, his face looked different. Less hard, less cold. The council has made a decision, he announced. Based on what I have seen here today, they are creating a new program. It will be called the Interspecies Rehabilitation Project. Everyone cheered and clapped. Echo made happy sounds and bounced on his feet like an excited child. Commander Taeho, the Admiral continued. Your station will be the headquarters for this new program. Dr. So-young will lead the research team, and Dongwoo will be the director of rehabilitation services. What about me? Echo asked hopefully. Can I help too? Admiral Kai-jun smiled for the first time since arriving at the station. Echo, you will be our first official interspecies communication specialist. Your job will be to help other creatures learn what you have learned. Echo's joy was so great that he could barely speak. I can help others? I can make friends for them like you made friends for me? Yes, the Admiral said. But remember, it will not be easy. Some of these creatures have been hurt for many years, just like you were. They will be scared and angry. I understand, Echo said seriously. I will be patient with them. I will show them kindness until they learn to believe in it. 2 months later, the first group of dangerous creatures arrived at the station. There was a being called Whisper, who could become invisible and had been used as a spy until she went crazy from loneliness. There was a creature named Thunder who was so big and strong that people thought he was just a living weapon. There was also a small, quick being called Flicker, who had been trained to steal things and had forgotten how to trust anyone. Echo met each new arrival personally. He spoke to them in gentle voices, the same way Dongwoo had first spoken to him. He showed them their new rooms, brought them food, and most importantly, he listened to their stories of pain and fear. I know it is hard to believe, he would tell each new creature, but not all people are cruel. Some people have hearts full of kindness. Let me show you. Within weeks, Whisper was helping Yu-jin with communication systems, using her invisibility to reach places that were too small for humans. Thunder discovered that he loved gardening and started growing beautiful flowers in the station's greenhouse. Flicker became the fastest repair technician anyone had ever seen, zipping around the station fixing things with incredible speed and skill. Look at them. Dr. So-young said to Dongwu as they watched the new creatures working alongside the human crew. Each one has found their own way to contribute. Just like Echo did, Dongwu replied with pride. In the engineering section, Echo was teaching Thunder how to be gentle with delicate equipment. The massive creature listened carefully to every word, wanting to learn. Remember, Echo said patiently, strong does not mean rough. Strong means you can choose to be gentle even when you do not have to be. Thunder nodded his enormous head, like you chose to be gentle with Admiral Kaijun even when he hurt you. Exactly, Echo said with a warm smile. Later that evening, Dongwu found Echo in the station's new recreation room. The creature was playing a simple game with Whisper, Flicker, and several human workers. Everyone was laughing and having fun together. How do you feel about everything that has happened? Dongwu asked Echo. Echo thought about the question for a moment. I feel grateful, he said finally. Grateful that you saw something good in me when no one else could. Grateful that I learned what friendship means. And grateful that I can help others learn it too. The galaxy is changing because of what we learned together, Dongwu said. Stations everywhere are trying new approaches with creatures they used to fear. Echo looked around the room at all his friends, human and alien alike. Good, he said with satisfaction. Everyone deserves a chance to be more than what others think they are. Outside the station's windows, a new transport ship was approaching. It carried 3 more creatures who had been labeled as monsters, coming to learn what Echo had learned, that kindness was stronger than fear, that patience was more powerful than force, and that every living being deserved a chance to choose friendship over violence. As the ship docked, Echo stood up from his game. I should go welcome our new friends, he said. Do you want help? Dongwu asked. Always, Echo replied with the deep contentment of someone who was no longer alone. Friends always help friends. Together they walked toward the docking bay to greet the new arrivals. Behind them, the recreation room continued to buzz with the sounds of different species learning to live and work together in harmony. The creature who had once been called Subject 77, the supposedly untamable killer, was now exactly what Dongwu had always believed he could be. Not a pet, not a weapon, but a friend. And in becoming a friend, Echo had helped change the entire galaxy's understanding of what it meant to be truly intelligent, truly alive, and truly capable of growth. The experiment in kindness had succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams, and it was only the beginning.